to briefly tell you what to expect today. We're going to be meeting the team behind this book, going to learn more about our author and illustrator. We will be reading the book. You'll see some special guests, including a puppet. Then we will have some prizes. You'll get an exclusive discount code for being here with us today. And then we will move into the Q&A, which will start with the puppet asking a few questions. Now, a quick note about the prizes. If you want to be entered in the draw, please send your name and email to the moderator, that's me, in the Zoom chat before 2:45 p.m. for a chance to win one of the prize baskets. These emails will be added to our monthly mailing list. Of course, you can unsubscribe at any time, but why would you want to? We have some pretty great stuff. Okay, so you already know Kelly. She is our author. We have Erin, our illustrator, and these are the same two people who brought Recess in the Dark to life. An awesome team, if I do say so myself. On the DC Canada side, there is me, the editor, and our publishing director, May, who is here today as well. And this photo of her and her grandsons is actually taken at the Experimental Farm, fun fact. If you don't know, the Experimental Farm is a beautiful place. I've been many times throughout my childhood and later celebrating anniversaries with my boyfriend, and it's got so many different sections, but my personal favorite is the Arboretum, where there are all these trees. Here are a few more photos. It's nice at all times of the year. Really pretty place. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little bit more about Callie. Callie lives in Ottawa, but she has an office in Ogdensburg, New York. She calls Canada her birth country and the US her adopted country because she lived there for so many years and she loves both. She always wanted to be a teacher, and she graduated from Queen's University with a degree in education, and then went on to get a master's degree at the University of Nevada at Reno. Her greatest wish is that all children will fall in love with reading, and she became a reading specialist in order to help children learn to read. At the back of her mind, she knew she wanted to be a writer as well. When her daughter Alicia was born, she decided to begin her writing career. She started by getting stories published in magazines, and then she moved on to books. She has published many children's books with titles like If You're Not Here, Please Raise Your Hand, Our Principal Promised to Kiss a Pig, Recess in the Dark, and many more. She has also had books for teachers published. And Callie, if you can tell us a little bit more about the book.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad that you are all joining us, and I've got all your pictures on the screen today. This book actually began when I was a very young child, growing up in Ottawa. Just like the little girl and her mother in the book, we did not have enough money to go to Disney World or to take trips and to have cottages. So the farm that was 5 minutes away from my house became one of the most wonderful places for me to celebrate life. I didn't realize it at the time, but we were actually very wealthy to have this amazing farm with so many things to do on it. The country roads, the pastures, the fields, the animals, the barns, the trees, and the gardens right next door to me growing up. We spent all 4 seasons on that farm, spring, summer, fall, and winter. And just like the little girl in the book, we would go tobogganing in the winter. We spent a lot of time there. Well, when I grew up, I moved away and lived in many different places. I loved all these adventures, but then I returned back to Ottawa. Now I live very close to the farm again. Well, I don't know if Laura is here, but I was visiting my friend Laura's school one day, and I shared this story when it was in manuscript form. And a little girl at the end of the story raised her hand and said, "I'm just like the girl in the book." She in the story, she said, my family doesn't have money to have a cottage or to go to Disney World, but she said, I didn't even know we had a farm. And that was when I decided that the book had to be published. And I sent it to May Dang at DC Educational Publishing, and she liked it right away. And we had already done a book together, so I knew that the team she would put together would do a beautiful job. It takes a lot of work to create a book. And then Erin Mercer came on because I tell the kids I can draw, I can write the stories, but I cannot draw the pictures. So Erin Mercer came on, and she was the illustrator, and she did an absolutely beautiful job. And Erin, I think we may have driven you a little bit crazy. We would all be emailing her back and forth. We think the ears on the little girl need to be changed, or the tail on the cow needs to be changed. Well, and even friends came to help. Friends like my friend Shelley and Janet, who lives close beside me, and Bob Grogan, they all came to help. We needed a picture of the hay wagon that is in the book, and they all found pictures and sent them. And then even as far away as Virginia, my friend Eo was helping with the title one day. We worked hard on the title. Should we call it Our Farm in the City? Our Farm in Ottawa? I love Our Farm in this. We couldn't decide, but finally we decided on Our Farm in the City. But I want to thank all the wonderful people who came to help, because it isn't just the writer. There are so many people involved in a book like this. And finally, the day arrives when the book is published. And I think now we're going to go back to Carol, who will tell us more about Erin, the illustrator.
Okay, so I will tell you a bit more about Erin now. Erin has illustrated a lot of content for DC Canada. She's also done other books by self-published authors, including a fundraising book, Nothing Can Stop Me, for the Diabetes Hope Foundation. She has many years' experience of video game art for an indie game studio. She worked at Nelvana, a children's television company, painting backgrounds on the Dog and Pony Show. She's currently at Cartoon Conrad in Halifax, working on another children's TV show, but she cannot tell us what it is yet. She's also a greeting card designer who sells and licenses designs across Canada. She loves gardening, hiking, and watching bumblebees, and she enjoys the arts, theater, music, painting, drawing, and reading. To illustrate Our Farm in the City, Erin did some research. With photos taken by Callie and maps from the farm organization, Erin was able to bring this beautiful farm onto the pages of our book without losing any of its magic. Look at these sketches. This is where it starts, and then look how beautiful it becomes. There is nothing as magical as seeing your words brought to life. Callie, I'm sure you could tell us how amazing it is to see that those things you're imagining really come to life like that. This is my personal favorite. I do love cows quite a bit, and this one, Dottie, she's very cute, and of course the cover as well. Okay, Callie is going to take it away reading the book.
Okay, Our Farm in the City. My mom tells me you can be rich even if you're not rich. When I was little, I didn't understand, but now I do. My mom and I can't afford to have a cottage in the summer or to take trips to Disney World. But we live in Ottawa, the capital of Canada. There is a farm right in the middle of the city, very close to our home. It belongs to all the people in Canada and is used by scientists to learn about farming. We call it the Experimental Farm because we are always looking for new ways to have better flowers, better plants, better trees, better animals, better everything. When I grow up, I want to be a scientist and do experiments on the farm. I might create a vegetable with spinach and lettuce and call it spinlet. Or maybe I'll make grass that is as yellow as the sun and call it sungrass. Oh, I love making up names and imagining the unimaginable. I spend a lot of time tobogganing on my favorite hill, sometimes when I am walking home. Dragging my toboggan, I pass by the barns and the fields and the polka dot cow, and I think of all the plants waiting for spring under the snow and ice. And I am so happy, and I am so rich. And that's why I want to invite everyone I know and everyone I don't know to visit Our Farm in the City.
Thank you, Callie. We are going to welcome Gail, and later we will hear from Miranda as well.
Hi, everyone. I just want to share with you that this is my friend, Gail Tchaikovsky, and she is here to share something very interesting with us this afternoon. Now, Gail, your father was a scientist on the farm. Is that correct?
Well, yes, he was, Callie. As a matter of fact, he worked as a scientist for over 30 years.
You know, if you look carefully at the pictures in my book, you will see that we have scientists on the farm. And your father was the real thing, right?
Oh, Kelly, he was the real deal, all right. He was both an entomologist and a plant pathologist.
Whoa, those are big words. Entomologist and plant pathologist? What do they mean, Gail?
Well, you're right. They are pretty big words. Took me a long time to learn how to say those as a kid. So an entomologist studies insects and a plant pathologist studies plant health that's impacted by things like disease and insects and environment.
Yeah, why is it important that we study and research insects and plants?
Well, it's very important to our farmers who earn their livelihood from growing crops. They want their plants, their crops to grow tall and strong and healthy. And it's also very important to us because we eat the food that they grow.
Do you mean to tell me there are actually insects out there that damage our plants and make them unhealthy for us to eat?
Yes.
That's not good, Gail.
No, it's not good, and it is true. And now my father he studied a particular family of insects called leafhoppers. They're called leafhoppers because they leap or they hop from leaf to leaf and from plant to plant. And they're very, very tiny. You can barely see them, but they can sure do a lot of damage to plants.
So these leafhoppers go jumping from plant to plant. They can carry disease with them. What exactly did your father do to help us with all this?
Well, he ran experiments to study the role of these insects that they played in damaging the plants. And then he would develop methods and procedures to prevent the spread of these destructive insects.
Did he actually have, I know they're so tiny, but did he actually have little leafhoppers?
Yes, he did actually. He used to trap them in a little clear tube.
Mhm.
And then he would take them and release them on a healthy plant in the lab, in the greenhouse, and he would study the effects of those leafhoppers on the healthy plants.
He would have to watch then and see what happened, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And Gail, did you ever go to the farm? Did you ever go to where he worked on? I think it was in the greenhouses, right? Did
Yeah.
you ever go there and see what he was doing there?
I sure did. So his lab and his two greenhouses were in the Arboretum, which, as you know, is just a really beautiful place with all sorts of trees. And so sometimes on weekends, he would take me with him and I would help him. He'd give me little tasks, or I would just watch him. And as you know, experiments have to be done in a very controlled way and step by step. And so he couldn't just leave his insects and plants over the weekend and tell them to, not move until Monday. So sometimes he had to go in and conduct a certain part of the experiment on a weekend.
And you would go with him because you weren't in school, right?
That's right.
And then you would help him with that because we can take a weekend off, but when you're doing research on insects, they keep going.
That's right. And so I was very fortunate. It was very interesting for me to see that.
Tell me, did your father find ways that help us with these destructive insects? Did he find like solutions to these problems?
Yeah, he did. As a plant pathologist, his research enabled him to find ways to combat the diseases in these affected plants. So you see, the research scientists who work at the experimental farm do very important work.
I was on the farm for so many years and never really understood all this. Now, Gail, do they share this research with other countries so that other countries can be safer too?
Yes, they do actually. And the research my father did was not just beneficial to Canada, but also all over the world. And he did actually receive international recognition for the work he did on destructive insects and plant diseases.
Well, we really do have to thank people like Gail's father and farms like our own experimental farm that keep plants healthy and safe for us to eat.
And I also wanted to say something else. I've talked very specifically about entomology and plant pathology, but there are many different research scientists who work at the farm and they work on different things. Some of them work on animals, some of them work on trees.
And so as we're walking around the farm, the scientists are hard at work and we may not even see them. Although, Aaron, you did put a few scientists right into our book, I know. But most of the time we don't even see them. The work is going on behind the scenes.
That's right.
You must be so proud of your father and the wonderful work he did.
I actually am very proud of that work.
Well, Gail, I want to thank you for coming to our book launch and sharing something I wish I had been taught when I was in school, what they're actually doing on that farm through the eyes of one particular scientist. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Kelly.
And now back to Kara.
So it is prize time. I will announce the winners, and they will also be contacted via email because, of course, now we have those winners. Congratulations to the 3 winners who will be winning. I will show you what prizes you are winning. Our first prize, which is a Recess in the Dark book and a canvas print with the poem The Northern Lights on it, will be going to Fatima. Congratulations. We have an Our Farm copy with an Our Farm tote bag, which is going to Julia. And our third prize is Our Farm in the City, the book, and is going to Brenda. So I will email the 3 of you. Congratulations. I hope you very much enjoy your prize. And as a little thank you for everyone who came today, we do have a special discount code, OFTB20. Use this code at checkout to get 20% off a book and tote bag combo, or just off the book. You need to use it within 48 hours though. And this is the website where you can use it, dc-canada.ca/ourfarm20. So don't wait too long. You definitely want this beautiful tote bag and the book. The live photo of the tote bag we had on this page, they have an image on either side. Although both our images show the same side, there's a very cute illustration on the other side as well. So you will look stylish carrying your books to and from school or the library. And with that, we are going to move into our Q&A section, and we are going to start with some questions from Miranda.
Okay, well, I have a new guest to introduce this afternoon, and her name is Miranda, and she is a very good friend of mine. Now, she's the one with the pink hair. You all know Gail, she does not have pink hair. And Miranda, I am so happy that you are here today.
Oh, it is a pleasure to be here, Callie. And Gail, she's like a shadow. She follows me everywhere. Every time I turn around, she is there. And I said, Gail, you don't have to come today, but she insisted.
Oh, I love it. I love it. These two fight a lot.
First of all,
yeah.
I am not your shadow, Miranda, and I didn't want to miss because I didn't want to miss all the fun.
Well, I can understand that, Miranda. She doesn't want to miss the fun of the book launch. But listen, you are here to ask me questions. But I have a question for you first. Now, do you live in Ottawa part of the time, but where do you live the rest of the time?
Well, I spend part of the time in Ottawa and I spend time in Europe as well. And I love both places.
Well, tell me, Miranda, since we're talking about the experimental farm, do you ever visit our farm?
Oh, yes. I love the experimental farm and I visit it often.
Yes, it's beautiful, isn't it? There are so many flowers and trees and pastures and meadows.
Yes, and Callie, have you seen the little brook with the adorable bridge over it?
Oh my gosh, yes, Miranda, I have. I love that little bridge. I know the exact one that you mean. It is just adorable.
So I go to the farm sometimes for a visit. My shadow, she's talking again.
Ooh.
Miranda, that's not very nice. We talked about this before we came. And you promised to be on your best behavior. Did I?
Yes, you did.
I'm so sorry, Gail. You know how I love to tease you, but I think you're a little overly sensitive, huh? Well, I don't think so. Okay, Callie, I have a question for you. Why did you write this book?
Well, you know, I've always loved the farm ever since I was little myself. But A few summers ago, I was on that farm every day. I don't know what happened to me. I just fell in love with the farm that summer all over again. And I would hike the trails, and I found places on the farm I had never found before. I went by the barns and the pastures, and I just had so much fun there. And that's when I met the special cow, too, that I would go and I would visit in the pasture. Well, whenever I love something, I like to write about it. And that's how the story started.
Oh, Callie, that was such a brilliant idea. You are so talented and so creative.
Thank you, Miranda. You really are one of my absolutely best fans. Now, do you have any other questions to ask?
Yes, I do. My next question is, wait a minute here. I think it's my turn, Miranda. Really, Gail? I thought we agreed that I would ask all the questions because I am so much better at interviewing than you are. You were just supposed to be here. She was just supposed to be here as my assistant. Oh, Miranda. I would like to ask the question. Okay, if you must, please go ahead. So, Callie,
Yes.
I was reading the book.
Yes.
And you did some interesting things with vegetables in the book. You got quite creative with making up names.
I did.
And I like what you did with spinach and lettuce, calling it Spinlet. That must have been fun.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. I love imagining the unimaginable when I write. And so spinach and lettuce became Spinlet. And the sun and the grass became sungrass. And tomatoes and corn became Tom corn. And you know what, Gail? At the time, I was imagining the unimaginable, but who knows? Right now, Miranda, too, scientists might be working on Spinlet. And one day, we might be eating it for dinner. Isn't that amazing?
That's funny.
Right here on our farm.
Okay, back to me now. The next question is mine. Callie, it's Gail. She forgets her lines sometimes. Callie, is the farm open to everybody? Can anyone go?
Anyone and everyone can come and visit the farm in Ottawa. It's right in the middle of our big city, and people come from all over the world to see it. It's known all over the world because it is a very special farm. Not only is it in the middle of the city, but it is an experimental farm, which means we are doing a lot of very important work on that farm.
Very interesting, Callie. Now, what is your favorite thing to do on the farm?
Oh my gosh, I love so many things about the farm. I even love to take my bike and just ride down through the country roads. I love to hike in the backwood areas too. I love to go through the gardens. I love to go see the animals. But you know what my favorite is? There's a little garden called the Fletcher Wildlife Garden. And it is one of the most peaceful, beautiful places in the whole city of Ottawa. And it is my favorite. I love to go and visit the gardens there.
Oh, Callie, is that where you saw the blue frog?
That's right, Miranda. I'm so glad you remembered that. It was several years ago, and I was in the Fletcher Wildlife Garden, and they have a pond there, and I couldn't believe my eyes. All the frogs were hopping and hopping, and I looked down, and one of the frogs was blue. Well, I looked again and again. I looked it up and found out only one frog in a million in North America is blue. So I took all my friends, everybody I knew that summer, to see the blue frog. And then you know what I had to do?
What?
I had to write a book about him. He was very special, a blue frog right in our own farm.
How could I ever forget that? So, Callie, what do kids like to do on the farm?
Oh, kids love they love to go out and they love to see the animals. They love to run down the country roads and in the pastures. They have special events on the farm too, like when the sheep get heavy with their wool, they have like a sheep shearing day, and people can come and watch while they do some of these things that city kids don't get to see often, but we can see because we're on the farm. We also have a hay wagon ride, and people can get on the hay wagon. Kids love it because the hay wagon takes you all over the farm. And do you know what? We even put the hay wagon in the book. because that's how important it is.
Yes, I did see the hay wagon in the book, Callie. It was a beautiful illustration. In fact, there are so many wonderful illustrations. Did Erin do all of them?
Erin did all the illustrations. She is an absolutely amazing artist. As I said before, I can write the stories, but I cannot draw the pictures. And it's always wonderful when an artist comes along, because it doesn't happen all the time, who really creates my pictures too. And Erin did it with just about every single picture in that book. She is an amazing artist.
Excellent. Now, Callie, do you ever go to the farm in the winter when it's cold?
Ooh, when I was a little girl, we went tobogganing on the toboggan hill all the time in the winter. But last winter, I was on the farm and I saw people cross-country skiing and snowshoeing and hiking on the farm. Hey, Miranda, I have an idea. If I go tobogganing next year on the farm, I was thinking maybe you could come with me. And because you're way younger than me, you could go at the front of the toboggan and I could go at the back. What do you think? We could go tobogganing together.
I think next winter I am busy. You're not busy, Miranda. Oh, okay, Callie. I would be pleased to go to the toboggan hill with you, but I have an even better idea.
You do?
Yes, it's brilliant.
Okay, a better idea.
You will love this.
Okay.
I think that you should be alone on the toboggan.
Alone?
But I would come up, I would be at the top of the hill with you, and I would give you a big push, and then I would wave as you went down the hill.
Wait a minute, Miranda. You mean I have to go down the toboggan hill all by myself while you just push me?
Yes, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know, Miranda. I am really going to have to think about this.
You know, Callie, I would go with you, but I hate to have messy, wet hair.
She's really fussy about her pink hair.
Well, you know, if I get snow in my hair, that's a big no.
Well, okay, Miranda, I am going to think about it, but you did remind me of something,
Yes.
And that is how we do all 4 seasons on the farm. And you know, the little girl in my book and her mother find things to do. And there's actually beautiful illustrations that Erin drew of the little girl tobogganing down the hill on the farm.
Callie, I have one remaining question.
Okay.
I would like to know, please, what other books you have done with DC Canada Education Publishing.
Oh, I am so glad you asked that. Did you know, Miranda, that I lived above the Arctic Circle? And above the Arctic Circle, in the winter, it is dark all day and all night. Do you know the kids go to school in the dark? They have lunch in the dark and they go home in the dark. And at recess, they have recess in the dark too. So I'm on a playground one day with the kids and I thought, I bet people wouldn't believe this. Kids are having recess in the dark. And so I wrote the book and it was published by DC Publishing Canada here. And Erin did here's the book. She did the most beautiful illustrations. They're just breathtaking for recess in the dark.
Well, Callie, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to join you today and be part of your book launch. That was so interesting.
And I must thank both you, Gail, and Miranda, my best friend Puppet, for asking me all these wonderful questions. I do have an autographed copy of the book for you.
Callie.
And that is the book, Our Farm in the City. And that is a copy.
It's so beautiful. Thank you so much.
I have one
Callie.
for you too, Gail.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Miranda. And now I guess we can move on to the question and answer period. And we can open up for questions. I think.
Does anybody want to ask me a question? I would be happy to answer your questions. Miranda, stop. I'm so sorry, Callie.
There actually is a question for Miranda, though.
Oh my goodness, that Miranda, we never know what she's going to do.
Yeah, there's a question in the chat from Susan who wants to know who Miranda's hairdresser is.
Probably somebody in France or something.
Yes, I go off to Europe for that.
Okay, that's good to know. I'll continue with the questions in the chat to start off. Jaden, if you have a question right now, you can feel free to ask it.
I do. I've been to that farm before.
Oh,
That's
good.
awesome.
So you have visited the experimental farm?
Yep.
Good. I am so glad, Jaden. I think it's a beautiful farm. And as I say, people come from everywhere to visit it. And we are so lucky to have it here in Ottawa. And I'm thrilled that you were there. Did you have a favorite thing on the farm you liked?
Cows.
We're into cows today, aren't we? Everybody loves the cows. I love the cow too. I would go and visit my cow friend that Erin, you did so beautifully in the book. Oh my gosh. Does anybody else have a question? Liz.
So if you were a newcomer to Ottawa and you didn't know anything about the farm, what would you recommend be their first visit at the farm? Because it's so big, there's so much to see.
I would recommend just driving around and just seeing all the pastures, the fields. You can actually drive by the arboretum. You can drive by the ornamental gardens. You can go in the back to the other gardens. You can park your car and go by the barns and walk through the pastures. So yeah, or just take a small section of the farm, go visit it, and then go back and do another section.
Well, hopefully
We'll go
you and
with
I
you
can
one
do
day,
that
Liz.
together.
Yeah, I'll go with you one day.
Sounds good.
Okay. Anyone else?
Has anyone else been to the farm?
I have.
Oh, Nancy. Hi, Nancy. You've been to the farm.
Hello.
You
I
moved
was just-
away, but you lived in Ottawa for a long time.
Oh, yes. And that was a wonderful trip down memory lane.
Was it? Oh, I am so glad. I bet you and I, Nancy's one of my oldest friends, and I'll bet you and I were on that farm together at
I'm
times.
sure we have been a couple of times.
Yeah, and because you
And
live
we
very
won't-
close to it too.
We won't say how many years ago that was.
No, we'll just skip that part. Yes.
Yes.
We'll just skip that
We'll
part.
leave it at that.
Yes, right.
Wonderful book, Callie.
Oh, thank you, Nancy.
We also have a raised hand from Melanie and Jolene.
Hi, Melanie, I can see you. Do you have a question to ask?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your question?
What is your favorite animal?
Well, I think along with everybody else today, I think I would say the cow, right? At least today it is. How about yours? Yeah, Melanie has a lot. She's had a lot of animals in her life. What's your favorite, Melanie?
My favorite is the pig.
You love the pig.
Yeah, and I named him Pie.
You named him Pie?
Uh-huh.
Pie the pig. That's cute, isn't it? I like Pie the pig. Oh, well, good. Maybe I'll rethink that. I think I like pigs too.
Callie,
Yes.
so when I got married, I had all my pictures taken at the experimental farm.
Oh, of course, you know, many people, have their beautiful pictures taken in the ornamental gardens, right?
Yeah.
The gardens are absolutely beautiful. And I'll bet they're breathtaking pictures.
Okay, our next
Any other
question is for Erin, actually. Deborah is wondering, what was your favorite illustration to create?
I loved doing the illustration where we combine the two different vegetables, the spinlet, tom corn, etc. Anybody who knows me knows that I love food, I love to eat, and thinking about how to combine these was definitely my favorite.
And I would just like to add, Callie, which one is your favorite illustration in the book?
I can't pick one. I love the scary trees. I love the scientist, you know, when she's holding up the sungrass and the little girl has now become, is thinking of being a scientist. I love how she also did the city in the background, because we do have to remember this is not a farm that's on a farm place. It's right in the middle of a city.
All right, are there any other questions that anyone wants to say out loud or put in the chat? We'll give a second for people to think. And if not, I'd like to thank you all for being here. Callie, Gail, Erin, and my boss, May, who is there silent but strong, doing all her publishing
May, I
director
can see her
things
there.
up there. Yes, there she is. Thank you, May, for all your hard work. Callie and Erin for another wonderful book that you have put together. And I've had the pleasure of working with you for 2 books now, Recess and Our Farm in the City. And I can't wait to see what's next from this dream team. So keep posted with our newsletter, with our social media, and we hope that you enjoyed this activity today. And hopefully we'll be able to do this in person by the time we have another book from Callie and Aaron.